I'm still not used to the new way Zoom has things set up.
Yeah, I'm me either. Like, I'll join you in that.
Yeah. So I feel like they always change things without getting our permission.
That's how I feel like every time my phone updates.
You didn't tell me. You didn't warn me. You just
I didn't ask for this.
Right?
It says we're recording, so I think we're on.
Yeah. And then every time my phone updates too, first of all, that was an excellent time for me to remember to turn it off. I feel like my phone only rings when I'm like in session. Mm-hmm. And so and then when I get out of session, it doesn't ring for me to remember to like silence it.
Yeah.
The thing. At this point, as a therapist, I should have a whole like checklist. Like, is your phone off? Do you have your water? Are you ready? Like, and I don't. I'm further along. I should be more of a professional by now.
Nah, it's executive function, friend. It is. You always have my permission to keep building, like to keep working on that.
Right. It's so funny. All right. Okay, we have real topics to talk about today, but I would like to say for the whole entire world, we are all working on consistency. You are not abnormal.
Yeah.
We are all struggling. We all have a couple of areas which we have figured out how to be consistent, like brushing our teeth every day. And we all have areas that for the life of us, we have been trying for 40 years and we haven't got consistent yet, like me going to the gym. These are things, but I feel like at least 3-4 times this week, people have been like, we just can't get consistent. We just need consistency. And I just want to normalize that for the whole world right now. Yes. We are all working on consistency. It just is what it is. So celebrate those 3 areas in which you have been consistent and just know you're like the rest of us trying to build consistency in those other areas. And it's just a thing you keep trying until you get it. And so just, you're 100% right. I'd like to tell that because it feels like that feels like it's been the beginning of every conversation. Like, yeah, we just can't get consistent, or we're not consistent, or I can't get consistent. You are normal. You do not.
Yep.
I won't say that. I want to say
you're human. You're human. That's what I tell people. I don't say normal. I say, oh, your humanness is showing. That's what I tell my clients all the time. So, Natalie, your humanness is showing.
Yes. And that would like the whole world to know. You're not abnormal. It is the thing. Everybody else doesn't have it together either. No, they don't. So, okay. What we're going to talk about today is when your partner's more kinky than you, or your partner's not as kinky as you. Like, how do you navigate that in a relationship? And that's a big thing for some people. So I'm actually going to dive in. I actually haven't read the notes, even though I sent y'all the notes. I didn't read them myself, so I don't know what they say. So I'll read them when you start talking. But what I'd like to say is to those of you guys who have not gotten into a committed relationship yet, a serious relationship yet, at the beginning, start having these conversations as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because what happens a lot of times is I'm scared to show you my kinky. And so they don't come out until we're solidly in the relationship. And this might not be a relationship that can handle that type of kink. Yeah. And so that's a real thing. You're not making it up. It's a real thing. And I think you could prevent that if you had the conversation sooner.
Yeah.
And if you have the conversation, kind of like STDs, if the conversation starts like, oh my God, I have this terrible life-altering news I have to tell you, that's going to set a different tone of like, hey, I just need to let you know about some things about me. We're starting to have like sexy conversations and talk. Seems like we're moving toward being very physically intimate with each other. These are some things that I like. Would you tell me some things that you like? These are things that I have to have in my intimate relationship. These are things that I don't. And I think the sooner you can say it and normalize it and have an open conversation, the better. I think hear the stories the most of when something got found out or disclosed, and now they're in therapy. So we may have a little skewed view. But if you can work with, I'm going to give you the floor in 2 seconds. If you people in the world, if all the people of the world, could work with being okay with your own kinks and idiosyncrasies and likes and dislikes, just have peace with yourself, it's easier to bring that into a relationship in a nice, peaceful, way. I think, and I don't think I'm articulating that the best because I'm trying to be careful with my words. But I know so many people, because they are having shame around what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they like, what they desire, they sometimes ignore it. Flat out try to live in denial of it, and then it comes up or it comes out in a crazy way in a relationship, as opposed to if you could go ahead and do the work and just be okay with you are who you are, these are the things that you need to do around that, and introduce that into a relationship earlier, you're much more apt to have a partner who knows you truly and who can walk with you in that. Okay, those are my 2 cents. Take it away, Amanda.
Yeah. I'm seeing 2 things in our practice and in our work. One is what you're mentioning, like people who are coming together, maybe have been in a long-term relationship for a bit and haven't disclosed the kink or don't know how to disclose the kink. I'm also, I think part of my work that I do in our practice around religious deconstruction clients, I'm seeing right now in this moment, so what's coming to mind is a lot of people who got married in their early 20s or late teens in a religious setting, and they've come out of that or just evolved some together, become more sexually open, and one or both of them realizes, oh, I actually have this kink, either through erotica or pornography or experiencing, solo sex, and not knowing how to tell their partner, or they've told their partner and their partner says, this is never going to be on the table for me, which I've seen several times lately. And that's the question that I would love for us to touch on today, was when your partner says, that's never on the table for me. Can we find something else? Like, how do you move through that or work with that? But yeah, what I do want to normalize also is so many couples are having this conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not weird. Your partner or you are not out there or strange. This is a common and normal, if we use that word, a typical or normal sex conversation that we shouldn't be afraid to have.
Yeah. All right. So if your partner says basically, hell no, we won't go. That's a non-negotiable. We're not doing that. Then the next conversation is, I think, the first conversation. Okay, let's say that's the first conversation. So then the second conversation you actually have to have with yourself of to what degree do I need this, want this in my life right now? Okay. Yeah. So after you have had essentially come to Jesus meeting with yourself, is this a deal breaker for me? Is this more important in a relationship? Is this what? Then I'd love for you to come up with some options. And so, hey, this is actually something that I really do want in my life. And I really want to keep this relationship that I'm in. Yeah. Can we talk about some possibilities, which may be, what if I go to an annual conference with this kink and I'm able to engage that one full week of the year and then come back? What if I'm able to do this with this kink and not this with this kink? Would you be okay with that? So let's talk about one, because we're talking about this because I just saw it on a TV show.
Okay.
Just saw it on a TV show about this high-powered professional that really liked flogging. Okay. She was a female, so really liked flogging. So for her partner, no, I'm not trying to be a guy that beats women. Like, that's not sexy to me. Or
I've heard that.
That's not. No, like that's a hard no for me.
I'm a good guy. I don't hit women.
Right. I worked all my life to be a good guy. So no, I can't do that. I can't do that for you. And so, right. Like, I get that. I get that. Like, I don't, even when I opened the door to that thought of me doing that. I don't like that. That's not something I'm comfortable sitting with. And so that, in that scenario, this person actually has a flogging partner. And so they, the husband was able to meet and vet them, and this is what we're going to do, and then this is what happens. And they are okay just with life. Actually, you really don't have as much time as you think you have.
It's true.
So it only happens about once a month.
Okay.
But that's the way in which she was able to get that need met.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not threaten the relationship, because it was almost seen as like a massage, like that's happening about 1 hour once a month. Yeah. You're not building an intimate relationship with somebody else. Like, it is a flogging session.
Yeah.
So that was a way. And so if your partner is, hell no, we won't go. How much do you need this in your life? And then, okay, is there a way to work with it? For a good amount. I feel like, sometimes, I'm so sorry. In my history, I don't know if I watched I was in a training and another therapist told me about it, or if it happened in real life, or the documentary that I watched.
I think this is common. This is common for therapists.
Yes. Like, it's just like, was that real? But I do know of like a couple of cross-dressers that they would like leave the state. I think this is true. Like, look, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember the story. This is true. At one point, our practice had a cross-dressing support group. And so some of the guys in there were older, and they said that there used to be a cross-dressing conference.
I know of that conference. Yeah, I know.
That is how they would get their cross-dressing needs met. So they were not able to do anything at home in their hometown, in their home state. I know one particularly, his wife was like, oh, no, we're not doing this. It will affect our standing in the community and our church and everything like that. Like, we're not doing this. But he was able to go to the conference and live that out for like that week.
Yeah, so you got that, just tickle the edge or scratch the edge.
Yes. And so I think there are ways to do it. So pieces of the conversation probably need to be kind of, what does this do for you? Mm-hmm. What does it fulfill for you? And I got to say, when you first asked that question, most people are like, I don't know, I just like it. Okay.
Sure. I mean, that's all we need to know, right?
I don't know. I just like it. And so your partner probably is going to ask a little bit more questions, a few more questions about it. Like, I like that. Also, please know, partners, we do just like stuff, and we don't know why we like it. Like, we don't. So, I hope this story makes you guys laugh. I, for whatever reason, fundamentally believe that my car should be burgundy maroon. That's and when my car color is not that car color, I am discontent with my car. No idea why. Until I was sitting on my parents' porch one day, and I looked out at the driveway, and I noticed that my mom has a burgundy car, and I have a burgundy car. My dad had a blue truck, and my brother had a blue truck. Like,
you were acculturated, and
right. And so, but before that moment, I could not have explained to you why I think burgundy red cars are the best. Could not explain it to you. And y'all, there's so many things that happen in our life that we don't realize why we picked it up or why it should be where it is or anything like that. And yet it is. And so I say that to the partner who's trying to understand their partner's kink.
Yeah.
They probably don't know where they picked it up at. They may not know. They may know because they just happen to have an epiphany one day. Like, oh, that's probably why I like this. But they probably don't. And just because they have a kink or a certain kink doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean they're deviant. Doesn't mean they're extra promiscuous or a pedophile
or a freak or like all the words. Yeah.
All of the words and all of the words. And so please have some gentleness and kindness around that. Yeah. So, okay. Absolutely. All right. What else would you like to talk to the people about, Amanda?
So, you mentioned something, and I've heard about this, like the flogging teacher, like a flogging session, flogging partner, flogging session. And I've heard this, especially when it comes to like BDSM and other like restraint, kink, and flogging. And I've had this conversation with a couple once, like, how can we outsource this? You know? Like a massage. But so many kinks involve penetration or orgasm. And I think that's where especially a lot of our men, but women too, they get caught up in it. And so I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. And for people, like for clients, for people watching, like to help, I think it's interesting that we can clarify what our boundaries and our values are. Like, what is sex? I mean, what is like when I have an intake with a couple, if not in the intake, then it's the first question I have in their follow-up. What is sex to you? Like, what does sex mean? What do you need for sex? Usually we get to it in the intake, but sometimes things go off route. But yeah, like what is sex? And I think these kink conversations can also, whether it's the penetration question or just generally, like what does sex mean to you? What can you do on your own? What must you do with your partner, right? Can we outsource it? Like, is it about the kink or is it about the connection, like, with your partner? And I think these are important conversations that a lot of couples don't know how to have, which is important for the work that we do.
Really?
Like, really picking apart. It's not about the connection and like the intimacy you guys have. It's about like a physical or spiritual need that this kink fills, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I love what we do. And I love like meeting new clients is to get to do that with them.
It is so cool. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about that for the partner who wasn't understanding the kink. And so Esther Perel said it best I'm using the very broad term of sex. Sex is a place we go. And so I loved that, especially for so many of our adults who are doing so many things and juggling so many things. I love that they can have a playground for themselves that allows them to get out of their head and into their bodies. And so a lot of these kinks, especially around like bondage and being tied up and everything, really does allow them to stop thinking about the world and just be focused on their body and its sensations for a while. And so I love that. There's a show called Billions. I think it was Billions.
My husband did that. Yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning, it's this couple, and I haven't watched the show. I just watched like episode number 1. I don't know why. Anyway, there's this couple. I think the husband is like a high-powered, like criminal defense attorney. Who knows?
Something, like that.
Yeah, something like that. Attorney. And the wife is actually a therapist. And they engage in kink specifically because, in BDSM. So she ties him up. And it's specifically because it's so hard for him to disengage from work.
Yeah.
And you hear her say that, like, we're doing this so you will be right here with me in the moment. And he's like, I just can't get, And it's so funny because like, she's all dressed up in her dominatrix attire and he's tied up. And she's like, you're still not here with me. And he's like, yeah, I just can't get it to it tonight. Like, I can't go there. But I love that scene.
Oh, I'll have to find that, like that scene. I think I could probably use that as psychoeducation at some point.
It is. It's so funny. And I think that, because actually I was looking at those scenes to put into a SAR. And so further on in that scene, like she goes away for him to like think about it and get into it. And she comes back and he's like, yeah, I'm still not there. She's like, okay, well, you want to eat ice cream instead? And he's like, okay, yeah, that'll do it. And so, right. And so, but I do want to normalize that for a lot of people. It's like, honest to God, it has been, for whatever reason, I feel like in society, it's just like a lot of like CEOs do submission type, like being bound and stuff. What I have learned in real life practice is it's people who have to make a lot of decisions for others.
Yeah.
So teachers, nurses, first responders, like people who just have to make a lot of decisions for others, like having a place in their life where they don't have to make any decisions, where they're actually restrained And so in that restraint, they are not responsible for anything.
Yeah.
They're not responsible for their partner's pleasure. They're not even responsible for their own pleasure. And it is very freeing.
Yeah.
It is. And so now I just want everybody to go have a great kink life. So, all right. Some particular things. Let me say this. Okay. Please, when you guys have this conversation, multiple things, and hopefully they apply to both people. So, approach the conversation with sensitivity to your partner. Whether they're the one with the kink or not the kink, but be sensitive to the conversation. Make sure the conversations are respectful. Make sure we get curious and not furious. You don't want to blame somebody for not liking what you like or make them feel bad for not liking what you like. You want to have a good partnership conversation. Okay, so this is something I'd like to bring in. If you're saying no, then how can we navigate this? What would you be comfortable with? And so, Amanda, what you said, okay, so what is sex for us? When is sex most meaningful to you? When is it like what parts of the body are you feeling like? And I can see how these conversations will get real heated. So you think you own my dick? You think you own my vagina? Like I do see how these even as I'm saying it now, I see how these can get really heated.
Which is
go ahead, Amanda.
Which is why we need the flexibility in it, right? Like this is really no different. I mean, it is, but really like this is no different than navigating like chores or like mental labor in the household. I'm thinking about a mental labor conversation I had recently with a couple, and they both have ADHD. But one is like inattentive and one is hyperactive. Like they're the different types of ADHD. And so they both are drowning in mental labor. And I'm like, we're going to have to negotiate this out. It's the same with kink, right?
Yeah.
You both might like something different. One of your vanilla sex, one of your one partner might be really vanilla. That's their kink, right? They're a vanilla kink. Like, if you want to think of it that way. All right. So you're vanilla. You've got a kinky kink. Well, we're going to have to negotiate. Does that mean one night a week we have sex like you like, and one night a week we have sex like you like?
Yeah.
Does it mean that you go away to a conference and scratch that itch and then we're good the rest of the year? It's all about negotiation. And
it is.
That's what I think is hard for a lot of couples before they come to sex therapy. And for people outside of this world, like we're in, like, sex is about communication. It's about communication. It's so much about communication. And anytime I say that with a new couple, at least one of them's like, no, it's not. I'm like, all right, well, let's keep talking and we'll figure it out.
No, it's not. Let's keep talking.
But really, I think we can get so bogged down into your kink is gross, or I'm too afraid to tell you. And it's a vulnerable conversation, but so is talking about like, if you want your partner to shave their underarms and they don't want to, that's also a vulnerable conversation, right? And you might get a no on that one because don't mess with my underarms. But at the same time, it's all negotiation and flexibility. And only healthy couples and healthy people can be flexible. And so that's why you have to talk about it. Even when it feels really icky to talk about.
I'd love to remind you guys to not take it personally. You know, I can hear somebody saying, so what, our sex life isn't enough for you? That's not what I'm saying.
Not what I said.
That's not what I said at all. And so I really want to caution you guys as you guys go into these conversations to like set some ground rules. We're not going to take things personally in this. We're going to get curious, not furious. We'll take deep breaths. We'll lead with, compliments and what we do love. We'll also bring that into the conversation. What I love about our sex life is, what I love about what we have is, what I love about this is, what I love about your body is. And I'd like to add this other thing. And what do you think about that? And how would that impact you? And, just having a wonderful conversation together. And if you can do that, I'd be so proud of you. And if you can't, come in and talk to us and we'll have the conversation with you. I have one of my couples. It's so funny. It's funny. So they're in my office. They had been with me for a couple of years. They're in my office. back when I was in the office, and I'm watching them have a conversation, and I'm noticing that I'm not in this conversation at all. And so I asked them, why y'all come to therapy? Like, y'all don't need me anymore. Like, have y'all noticed that I haven't said anything? Like, I've just watched you guys have a conversation.
Yeah.
And they said, we don't know why, but we could not have had this conversation at home.
I get that actually.
They're like, we could not have this conversation at home. I don't know if we just need somebody watching us. I don't know if we're like the bad kids in the class that can't behave by themselves. It is so funny. And I was like, okay. Well, I guess y'all are spanned for the time, because I'm not even in like therapist mode. I really am just watching y'all have a conversation. And so they were saying like, we don't know why, but we're telling you this is not a conversation we could have had at home. It would have went off the rails. And I was like, okay, well, I'm here for it. Yeah. Easiest money I've made all day. And I think there really is something to that. Yeah. I think just like in public, I behave differently than I do at home. I think maybe it's just that aspect. And so I say that to say, you guys, if this is a harder conversation for you and you just need somebody else in a room for you, we're here for it. So like, there's no judgment in you not being able to have this conversation at home, because we deal with so many couples who have said we can't have this conversation at home. And I think go ahead.
No, I think the accountability and like the witnessing, I mean, that's one of the most powerful things we do, right? Yeah. And I think in that, like, that really illustrates like the witnessing. Sometimes you just need somebody else there to see it. And like, like in my tradition, I came from the pastoral care world, and therapy and chaplaincy and counseling were called like spiritual midwifery. Like, that was like in the theology, like what it was called, because we're like, what does midwife mean? It means with women. That's all it means. It doesn't mean it means with women. We are spiritually and like emotionally accompanying people. Like that's the witnessing. So like, that touched my heart, like that, because you've shared that story with me once before, and I love that story about like, you guys are doing great. Why do you need me? Well, we need you to see us and see like the work we've done and see like how we're able to do it.
And I think that's now that I think about it, I think that's part of it. And then I got to go actually have a 10 o'clock.
Yeah, me too.
But let's go on that. Y'all have a great and wonderful day.
Have a good weekend, y'all. Bye, Natalie. See you soon. Bye.